Here we go. Last day, day 4 of phase 3, and we're gonna be finishing off this phase with upper body. So we got the setup here, and as you can see, it's an incline bench. We're gonna be doing low rows to high rows. So it's gonna be alternating between a lower row to a higher row, and really just kind of increasing the angle of your elbow to your torso there. So it's really focusing on the lats with the low row, and then as you increase the angle, a wider angle in your elbows to row it nice and high, you're gonna get a little bit more of the traps and the teres major and also the rear delts too. So it's really just kind of switching the focus a little bit throughout the exercise. You wanna support that upper body on that chest, really get that sternum, and as you row up, pull the elbows nice and high, and you're gonna have a slight arch in that lower back to get that full contraction. And then you can bring it down to that stretch position and go right up to the high row. So elbows nice and wide, there we go. And you'll feel the difference too. From going here, you'll feel really good lat activation. Bring it down, go right up here. You'll feel a lot of that upper back activate too. So take your time, go nice and slow, and also keep the weight a little bit lighter so we can get that full range of motion and the proper positioning too of the elbows. Because those high rows are gonna feel a little bit more difficult than the low rows. Low rows are a bit more easier. Once you increase the angle and pull it high, you can feel a bit more difficult. So keep the weight a bit lighter and then work up to a heavier weight once you feel like you can. Next exercise, we're gonna be concentrating on the chest, and we're gonna be performing the floor press. Now we covered this exercise earlier in the series. We're including it again in this phase just because it's an excellent exercise. It's very simple, as the name explains. You're lying on the floor and you're pressing from that position. So it's a little bit of a decreased range of motion because the back of your arms are gonna hit the floor. So you wanna keep it really nice and slow as you bring that weight down. And from that position, you wanna press up in kind of more of an explosive manner to the top position, get a good squeeze, and then lower it back down to the bottom position. There, and you can tell I'm coming inward too with the movement. So as it's pressing up, coming inward and getting a good squeeze. So it's kind of just adding a little bit of extra movement in there to get a bit more activation in the chest. Now, floor press, great. Okay, next exercise, we're gonna be focusing on the shoulders, but there's gonna be a lot of leg drive involved too, because we're gonna be doing the dumbbell snatch. The dumbbell is starting from the floor, and you're in a squat position, and you're gonna be creating a lot of momentum with the legs, squatting up, but also pulling through the shoulder, almost like a high row there, and then flipping it, but continuing the momentum in the dumbbell to raise, and then you're gonna slightly duck to catch it above, and then finish off the motion by slightly elevating the trap and get a nice squeeze in the delt at that top position to help stabilize the weight, and then return it back down to bottom position. So we're gonna be going through the motion here. There's kind of a lot going on, but I feel like once you can see it in motion, a little bit easier to digest. So here we go. So squatting down, and you can tell you're gonna get a pretty wide stance here, wider than hip width, wider than shoulder width, and the dumbbell's gonna be placed right above. Nice deep squat, hand can be out for balance, and then you're gonna be creating a lot of momentum with the legs, high row, catch, and then bring the top position there, slight elevation, stabilizing the weight straight above you, and then dropping it back down to the bottom position and starting again. You can tell too, the dumbbell, as you pull, you wanna have it a nice straight pull. You don't want it to come out away from you, because that's gonna create too much extra motion in there, pull the weight away from you. Then you're gonna have to create some pull in the shoulder to bring it back to that kind of top position, that center position. So really try to have that nice straight pull up the body, and then flip and catch. So you can take some practice to get the motion down, but once you have it, you'll know you have it because it feels good, feels stable, and it definitely works. So there you go, dumbbell snatch, baby. Sounds dirty, but that's the way we like it. We got the last major exercise up, and it's gonna be around the world. Now this is an excellent isolation exercise for the chest. So it's gonna work a little bit more, obviously the stratus anterior, a bit in the shoulder, traps, things of that nature for stabilization in this movement. But it's in the lying position, and you wanna keep this exercise very light because your arms are gonna be straight out. And so if you go a little bit too heavy, it's gonna put way too much strain on the shoulder and the elbows, and you'll know what I mean once I get in this position. So, but you do wanna keep it nice and slow as well. The slower you go, the more you're gonna feel it. Keep the shoulders back, and really try to feel it in that chest as you work through it. So here we go. Starting position. You can see hands are placed just about hip right here, slight bend in the elbows to help kind of stabilize the weight there. And then you just slowly bring it up overhead. You can touch and then back down. Deep breath. Exhale. Shoulders are depressed and back, and as you bring it up to the top position, they can be elevated slightly and then depress them as you bring it down. Oh yeah. That's a good burn right there. Woo. We're gonna have chesticles. Once you can start doing the pec bounce, you know that you're becoming, really have that certification of buff dude status. Last exercise, truly the last exercise this time, and it's gonna be the abdominals. And really with an exercise like this, it's kind of more just core work, because you're not only working the abdominals, the obliques, but you're also working that lower back too to stabilize the spine and that rigid, straight kind of positioning here. And we are doing the side planks. Getting this position, you can tell, putting the weight on your elbow here, and you can put your other hand on your hip, or just kind of relax it a little bit, but you really want to try to keep that nice straight torso, the upper torso, and then the legs too. In this position, just hold, and we're holding for a bit here. And it's a very simple exercise, kind of boring too, but it definitely works. It hurts, it burns. So I just want to say thank you so much for joining the buff dudes for this dumbbell phase 3, dumbbell only program. And we still got phase 4, the last phase, which is gonna be 5 days, a little bit more intense, splitting up the body a little bit more. Looking forward to having you guys joining us for that one. And I'm just gonna finish off here. And as always, stay buff. Ugh. All right, did we cut yet?